are in listen-only mode.
Hi, this is Chuck Williams, and I'm very pleased to introduce my friend Mike Mucci tonight. And we're getting to the heart and soul of the training now, and where we're going to start to apply the different things we're learning. So, very excited to have Mike take us to the next step. And this will be a continual process as we roll this out, and we will really work with you step by step. I made a special announcement last week. For those of you on this week's webinar, we'll re-announce that at the very end. But Tuesday night we had a special webinar and we made a special announcement. And I know everybody was giving me great feedback about it. So Mike, thank you for that. And let's turn it over to you, sir. I'm excited about tonight's webinar.
Very good, Chuck. Thanks. Thanks, Karen. Okay, I can see who's here tonight, so I feel like I can see faces from pictures and kind of know who I'm talking to. And I see Mike Wickham is with us tonight. Great to have you, Mike, with us. Appreciate it. I know you're working with Pam Benjamin, and you got a really good leader there. So hope everybody enjoys the class tonight. This is lesson 6, and what we're going to do tonight is we talked about this training being interactive, and this is going to be one of the first sessions that are going to be interactive. And then we're going to go back and review Tuesday night what we talked about with the landing pages and lead magnet, so we can get a good, clean, crisp recording of that. All right, lesson 6. What is the condition of your mailing list? And the rest of we're going to review landing pages and the lead magnet. And why I wanted to review this and go over the 6 steps is I was a little bit alarmed that I didn't effectively explain, how everybody should answer the question why an individual should want to work with you versus every other opportunity. So that's why I'm kind of plugging this part in, and we're going to ask you to email the questions to us, so you don't have to be, put the panic button down here. You get a chance to think about this, so we know where you are. Because here's what's important: we can have the greatest tools in the world, we can have the greatest system, your lead funnel, but here's what is most important. The offer, and the offer being the free report, and the offer being the webinar through those steps, is only as good as the list. In any kind of a marketing strategy, the offer is only as good as the list. And many of you have heard this before back in the LinkedIn lessons. I think it was in lesson 2 or 3. But I wanted to review it because it's going to be very important in the process we're going through. So, number 1, and you're going to answer these questions. You're going to have an assignment. You're going to answer 1 through 6 and email Chuck and I so we can see where you are. Okay? And we'd like to have these back by Monday. Okay? Next Monday, which is July... I wrote it down here. It's 18th. Okay? But here's the first question. Who are you targeting? And I'm really kind of referring to, we're going to go out of the box here with doing a combination of online and offline campaign. So, for example, Chuck is targeting ministers or pastors. Okay, there could be entrepreneurs, there could be small business owners, there could be pet lovers. Okay, I think that's the primary. I think the secondary is the location. Okay, so that's a little bit different than you probably heard before. So you could have ministers in Missouri, or you could have ministers in the United States, or you could have ministers in North America. Okay? So I want you to answer that question. We need to know who your target is. when you create your target, I want you to think of this. This is kind of important too. Do you know any people in that segment, in that primary segment, that could refer you to others? That's very important. That can fast track your activity. So, in other words, Chuck might know a minister in Kansas that is in an association with a bunch of pastors, maybe in southwest Missouri. And possibly that individual could introduce Chuck to that group. Okay? So I want you to think about that, because that could be important. Okay? Number 3, does your offline target list different from your online list? In other words, we asked you to put together a list of offline individuals, maybe some people that you tried to talk with before. Maybe there was a couple of friends or family members that you felt that you would like to do business with, that you felt they were capable, that were in your target market. And I want to see if both of those lists are lining up. Okay? I want you to describe both of those lists. Okay? Best you can. Is your LinkedIn profile in place? I'm going to make sure, because we do have some new people involved, and we want to make sure that that LinkedIn profile is done. Is it in place? Have you connected with Chuck? Have you connected with me? Okay. Number 5, going back to our session we had Tuesday night. Can you confidently answer this question? Why any prospect would want to do business with you versus every other available option to them? I want you to answer that question the best way you can. Okay? Some of you should really not miss the answer to that question if you were on the call Tuesday night. 6, can you conduct a preliminary interview asking the 4 questions and lead a candidate to a webinar invite with a confirmation number without selling? And some of you may be sitting there and saying, well, what are the 4 questions? Well, we learned it in the LinkedIn training class. The first question was, you went to the individual's profile and you found out something that they could be proud of, and you might say to them, Chuck, tell me about your work in ministry in the St. Louis area, and have you done anything? Tell me what you've done with the Faith Miracle Temple, whatever. Okay, you're going to ask a question. Then you're going to ask them, why did you respond to my information? 3, what are your goals? 4, why haven't you reached those goals? Then you're going to make a determination with that person based on those answers. I like what you've said here tonight, and what I would like to do is, invite you to a webinar that we're going to be doing with Chuck Williams. It's part of our preliminary interview process, and we only have 25 seats. I highly recommend that you attend the webinar. I'm going to invite you to it, and I need to give you a confirmation number so you can, reserve a seat in that webinar. So I want to know how many of you would feel confident in doing that. Okay? And I don't want a yes or a no answer for that question. If it's no, I'd like to know why you feel that you can't do it. Okay? Fair enough? Chuck, you want to add anything to that?
Sorry, Mike, I was muted. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Just looking to find out where they're at, so we make sure that they got their fundamentals in place. There's no sense
Right.
them launching this if they don't have these basics in place. They'll be wasting their time.
Right. Was there anything that I overlooked?
I don't think so, Mike.
Okay, very good. All right, I want to change my screen here for just a minute. Okay. How many of you were not on the call Tuesday night? Okay, you could just raise your hand if you were not on the call Tuesday night.
Does that include people who listen to the recording?
Yes. Okay, Vanita wasn't here. Okay, I see her hand is up. Everybody else was here. Okay.
Mike Wickham was not here.
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay. What we did is we rolled this out so everybody could see what the, what a lead generation magnet's going to look like for, bringing people to the free report page. So we'll show you that in a minute. This is a postcard. Okay. Now all the information is pretty much the same. When we do just a regular lead magnet that you could use in LinkedIn, or a lead magnet that you could use in an email blast, so on and so forth, and that would center around just parts and pieces of this postcard content, but the call to action will be the same. The free report is going to be 3 critical mistakes home business owners make that prevent them from sustaining and prospering long-term and earning a monthly income quickly. Okay, so again, you are going to use in this educational component that stands alone ahead of anything that an individual is going to hear about Sherlock Nation. It's going to be a standalone. We're not going to cross over. The goal here is to get people the free report. Once they get the free report, the next step is we're going to send them to a webinar. Okay? Chuck will present the webinar. There will be slides. He'll be speaking about how he has earned multiple 6-figure annual income and a full-time income from home over the past 10 years. Okay? He's not going to talk about product and service. He's going to talk about the disciplines he uses and the marketing strategies he uses and so on and so forth. And the support that he puts out to help people that work with him. Okay? What does that do? Well, what we're going to try to do here is allow people to feel real comfortable. They're looking for somebody that can guide them. They're looking for somebody that's done it. They're looking for somebody that's created results. So we want to put them in that place. Okay? So we're going to be able to market these messages both online and offline. Drive people to those landing pages. So let me take you to the landing page. First here. Okay. Let me know when you can see my screen, Chuck.
Yeah, we're watching your screen. The landing page is coming up now. There
Okay.
it is.
All right. This will be the content that we have for the landing page, where people are going to go and get the free report. This will be, you'll have the URL for this. There will also be a 800 number that people can call. We'll give them the option of using a URL or using an 800 recorded number, and two things are going to happen. If they go to the URL here, they're going to fill out this form, name, email, and referred by. So if Ann Lear sends Bill Smith to the URL and he puts in Bill Smith, his email, and it's going to say referred by Ann Lear. So what does that do? Well, that allows Chuck and the home office in St. Louis there to know whose prospect that is. And we'll get a report on that. And then Diane will notify you, Ann, that, you know, we have one of your prospects that asked for the free report. So you'll have that information. Now, once they have the information, there'll be five follow-up emails that go out on day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that are going to, of course, congratulate that person on getting the free report, and then there'll also be an invite there. Call to action will be to go to the webinar page, or the person that referred you will be contacting you to do a preliminary interview regarding our webinar with Chuck Williams. Okay, so we're going to have contact there. Before that person gets on the webinar, you're going to have an opportunity to make a connection with them. Okay? All right. So, again, it's all automated. All the tools are there. I want you to think of yourself as a facilitator, not a salesperson. What do I mean by facilitating? You facilitate them from one step to the next step, and your goal is to get them, first goal, is to get them to attend the webinar with Chuck. Because Chuck's going to do the rest. He's going to do the rest. He's going to get a call to action at the end of that webinar for people to sign up for interviews right there. Okay? And we're going to get people signed up for interviews right there. Okay? All right. Now, let's take a look at the next page, which is the webinar page. And we'll bring this up. And here's the name of the webinar. Okay. Again, referred by. And this date was just a placeholder. That's not going to be the first webinar date, but you get the idea. The webinars will be recorded as well, but this is where we would take somebody and we'll get them signed up for the webinar, referred by. You're going to have to get their telephone number. Okay? It's hard to get telephone numbers online. Kind of scares people, But you'll be in contact with them prior to that. So you'll need to work on that part of it. Any questions so far from anybody? You want
Let me
to
scroll
raise your
through,
hand?
Mike. Let me see if I got any here. Hold on.
Okay.
No questions yet. Let's give people just another second, see if they type one in, but it looks good right now.
Okay. Okay. I hate to do a long explanation for something that's real simple, so I'll summarize it. Okay? Your list, online and offline. The lead magnet that we create, online or offline. Drive them to the free report. Two ways they can get the free report. They can use an 800 number or they'll go to the URL. Once they sign up for the free report, then our next step will be to get them to, attend this online webinar. And we're going to put that preliminary interview in process as well. Okay? Again, big question. Can you facilitate versus selling on the front end? Because if you try to sell people on the front end, you're going to lose. I really feel that. Your job here is to bring people and put them in the seats to let Chuck speak to them first. Okay? What does that do for you? Well, a couple of things. Makes your job easier, but also the person going through the exercise with you, when they do become an associate with you or distributor or a partner, whoever you want to classify them, they're going to, because they went through the process, they're going to feel pretty comfortable that they could do the same thing. And that's where the duplication part comes in. Okay? Few extra steps on the front end, but I think after you get people to talk to Chuck, you've got so much better opportunity to be able to bring them into the business, and they know that Chuck is the type of person that's going to support them as well, going forward to duplicate. Anything you want to add, Chuck? You feel that I didn't touch upon there?
Pam's got a question relating to the free report versus the webinar. She's asking, is that one and the same? Is the free report the webinar, or is there a free report and the webinar?
There's a free report, Pam, and then there's a webinar. Two different subject matters, but they will both, they will both complement each other very well, because the free report is going to be kind of a teaser kind of thing. It's going to talk about those three. Let me go back so you can see the screen. The free report will touch upon these three things right here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And then the free report's going to expand upon them a little bit, give examples, have testimonials. Then at the end, there's going to be a call to action where, here's Chuck Williams. He's been using these strategies, and this is how he uses them, and this is how he's established himself as a home business owner, and the kind of income and stable income that he's made over the last 10 years. He's going to talk more about this in the webinar. Okay? Any other questions?
Yeah, Anne Marie's asking a good question. In the preliminary interview, what can I say if someone asks me what company is promoted in the webinar? No company is mentioned until Chuck talks to them and introduces Sherlock. So her question there, Mike, is if someone point blank asks her, well, what company are we talking about? How would you reply to that?
I would apply to this. This is an educational based webinar that that demonstrates to any entrepreneur fundamentals that they can use in any business that is going to allow them to make money quickly, sustain themselves, and be able to duplicate and grow their business. That's the topic of the webinar. It's a separate educational tool from the Sherlock. So I would premise it around it's a educational tool for any kind of a home business owner. Because what if somebody's already in a home-based business and they're struggling and they don't have support, and they come over to this, and we're not trying to sell them a position in the Sherlock here. What we're trying to do is educate first. So that's how I would answer the question. Because how do you even know they're going to get through the interview process before they find out? That's where taking control of the conversation is. And I think that's the weakest point of many that are here. Somebody asks a question like that, they freeze right up. Got to work on that. I've mentioned it many times over the last 3 or 4 weeks. This is an educational tool that stands alone, that's going to aid any kind of a home business owner or a small business owner. Has nothing to do with the Sherlock business.
Mike, I'm not able to type my questions in. May I ask a couple?
Sure.
One, if you could put your answer, you gave us a nice full answer there. If that could be in print, I think that would be very helpful. Also, Pam is asking, who's actually sending out the free report? Is it coming from us or from Diane?
It comes out automatically from the get response system that we're putting in place.
Okay, so it's auto-responded, and then the letters are also auto-responded.
Correct.
Okay. My other question, you're talking about online contacts. I've had this vision from when you started as these offline ones that we gave you a list of. Are we able to then duplicate this to whoever we want online as well?
Yes, and that's one of the questions that we were looking for an answer for. You know, tell us a little bit about your offline list and your online list. So that's one of the reason we're asking that question. We're gonna filter through those answers, and we're gonna figure out the best way. We want to see what everybody's thinking there, if there's any confusion at all. Okay, but what's being shown works both in the online and the offline list. Yes, the answer to your question would be yes.
That online list, I don't know if I missed that earlier, but that's kind of a new concept, and I'm excited about that because I've got a lot of online contacts. I guess my question back to you, and I think other people may be wondering this as well, is how broad do you suggest that we make that? Is this something we can really send out to a lot of people, or do you suggest we keep a small group at the beginning? Very targeted this?
Well, the advanced search on LinkedIn will allow you to build up leads for 3 different groups for free. Three different groups of leads for free. And we demonstrated that a while back, but that's probably something that we're going to have to go back through again. Okay? And we can do that the next time we get together. I'll take everybody through that advanced search. And once you get that started, LinkedIn will automatically gather people. But that's why it's important, that first question, who are you targeting?
Mm-hmm.
Because the LinkedIn advanced search will let you, you know, get really defined with your search. And like I mentioned, well, we want ministers in the United States. And it will start building a list for you. Okay? And you're able to take that list and take it and put it, you know, over in an Excel spreadsheet as well with an email address. So we'll go through that again, Karen, and I think if we demonstrate that, it's kind of hard here for me to try to explain that to you without showing you. I know I learn better when I can see things and go through the steps. So we'll make it a point to go through that again. But the LinkedIn Advanced Search, even with the free account, will service that. for your online efforts that you want to do.
For those of us who have been online for a while, I imagine we have people that we may have contacted in the past we have some relationship with. Would you advise using those, or should we stay away from that initially, if they're kind of our target type people?
If they're your target people, by all means, target them.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add, Chuck?
Yeah, Mike Wickham has a question out here. He's wondering, if the person asks the name of the company, you were pretty much recommending that we avoid answering that and get them through the process and allow them to discover that at the appropriate time. Is there anything you could expound on that for Mike to help him understand? I'll make a comment, but I wanted you to, that is our approach, right? We want to avoid giving them the name of the company too early in the process.
This is an educational tool to help individuals in any kind of a business do things the right way. Okay? It's not sponsored by the Sherlock Nation. What we're doing here as a group to differentiate ourselves, and I'm giving away an answer right here. What we're doing as a group to differentiate ourselves and build credibility to potential prospects is we're taking people to school prior to them being selected as a candidate. And I think, Mike didn't go through, and he's probably never read the Takeaway Selling report. And that's something, Pam, you probably should get to him because, okay, the white, it's black and white. The white side of this, the white side of the fence here, is the Sherlock Nation and the Sherlock Nation tools. The black side of the list here is going to be this educational tool that stands alone, as a value-added concept for the team of hope to find prospects and educate them on how to start, sustain, earn money quickly, and prosper in any kind of a home office business or small business, as far as the marketing part of it goes, the lead generation. Okay? There's no gray area, meaning we don't cross over, we don't blend, we don't mix, we don't bring up the Sherlock. So everybody's got to get their mindset that this is an educational tool that we're promoting. Okay? When Chuck Williams does the webinar, he is not going to mention anything about the Sherlock Nation. Nothing. It's going to be all about how he has, earned multiple six-figure annual income and a full-time income from home over the past 10 years. Did that help answer your question, Mike?
I don't know if you can read that, Mike, but he said yes.
Okay.
And thank you, Mike Wickham. Appreciate that question.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Mike? I mean, are you embracing this, Mike? Do you think it's going to be helpful for you in your journey working with Pam?
He's still typing. He says, I understand the approach, but he does have a problem with not answering someone's question, but he'll work on it.
Well, no, we're not. That's not. Let's don't leave that. Okay. Here's the answer to that question. What company is it? There is no company, Mike. There is no company. The company is, call it special education, LinkedIn plus lead generation, education for home or small business. That's the product. Okay? That's how I would answer the question, because that's what it is. That's what it is. Not hiding a thing. Does that help, Mike?
His
Yep, he
answer
said,
was that.
thanks, Karen. But Mike, he basically said that that did help, and he'll work out the details with Pam and myself, so he gets it.
Well, we'll have a script for that. Okay? We'll have a script for that. So we don't want to put anybody in an uncomfortable position or anything like that, but that's what this is. It's going to be a standalone educational tool. And when they get done with the webinar, Chuck, part of the call to action is, you may be expanding your business. Would anybody be interested in potentially interviewing for a position in my group? Okay? What we're trying to do is we're trying to build that credibility up, where they see the value, they see how you're doing things, and they feel good about it. Okay? And all we're going to ask them to do is interview. So we're controlling the process that way. And then during that process, guess what happens, Chuck? They get introduced to the Sherlock Nation. So it's 3 steps: free report, webinar. Then we're gonna step outside the webinar product, and those that are interested in being interviewed for a potential position with Chuck, that's a whole nother thing. So that's why I said those tools will remain the same. The only thing is, it's like you already know this person now because you've taken them through these 2 steps, so you're bringing them over to potentially the 3rd step now. Okay? Does anybody feel uncomfortable with that?
Mike, you might want to explain to them that this is the system you've been using for your golf business and how it relates, because really you're duplicating a successful system. You're not winging this. That's what's exciting about this.
I've used this system for more than just the project I'm working on now. I've used it for a long time. Okay, and as I mentioned last time, the delivery systems are just different. I mean, you could meet somebody on Facebook here and get them the free report. If you determine they're in your target, and you got to know who you want to work with. And I think that's so very important. And that, doing that first step right it puts you on the right path of getting somebody that you're going to feel good about and you're going to be able to work with for a long time. It's that screen and qualify type of situation there, So, if Chuck spoke to 100 ministers in the next 6 months, how many of those ministers, Chuck, do you think you could bring into your business if they were qualified? What percentage?
It would be above 20%.
Okay, now how many of those 20% would refer you to others?
Probably half.
Okay, where would your business be in 6 months?
It would explode.
How easy would it be for you to teach the people you bring in to do the same thing? They can stay in the ministry segment as well. So now you've got 10 ministers doing the same thing that you're doing in the same segment.
And that's
Bring
what we announced Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And for those of you that weren't on that or haven't listened to the recording, Mike has graciously offered to provide his training and expertise to anybody you bring onto the team using his training. So for those of you that have made the investment and have stepped up, he's offered to help you build your team with his training. And we're going to train you to be a trainer. So it's an ongoing process where you'll learn to use this step by step and then teach your team to do the same with our help and create that really sustainable business. So, Mike, again, thank you for that offer.
Yeah. And just so everybody understands it, there's not going to be any fee for anybody that you bring in to learn the same system. So Mike Wickham brings in Bob Jones, okay? And Bob Jones is going to go through the same training, and Bob Jones isn't going to pay for it because Mike Wickham already has been in the class and did the tuition part, okay?
Which then creates a sustainable income for Mike.
And everybody's going to be learning the same way that Mike did, and Mike's going to be, managing his expansion, the very same way. He's going to be able to use the credibility of Chuck Williams. So if Mike Wickham wants to, you go after the segment of pet lovers, okay? And he's determined, I want to go after pet lovers, and I think that, women or men from the ages of 35 to 55 and who I want to go after that maybe have had a small business before, that's the segment I'm going to go in, because what I like about that is the referrals you're going to get once you get started. They know the same kind of people. That's why I think it's important to do that, and that can help accelerate your business expansion. I appreciate the interaction tonight. I really do. So answering those 6 questions, and that'll be the assignment. And if you have any questions about what we covered tonight, if it's not clear to you, put it in that email, and we'll get back to you. We want everybody to feel comfortable. Chuck, that's all I have for tonight.
All right. So by Monday night, please have those questions answered. Mike, when do they start setting up their landing pages and the different pieces of the program? When does that happen?
We already have the 2 landing pages up right now. The free report is sketched out. We're going to do the follow-up emails. Then I got to get with you on the components of the webinar. So that's all ongoing. We're working at it as we speak. So we'll have an update for you on next Thursday. We'll have some more things to show you. But we're getting closer. You do your part now. Answer those 6 questions.
All right,
so
buddy.
You're ready to go.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much, Mike.
All right, Chuck. Thanks.
Talk to you tomorrow.